New York Yankees. Where did they come from? The history of the New York Yankees began in 1901, and ironically, very far from New York. The team was one of the founders of the American League, but initially had to settle in Maryland, in the city of Baltimore. It was initially named the Baltimore Orioles and moved to New York only in 1903, where it adopted the name New York Highlanders. The move was requested at a peace conference between the American League and the National League, which wanted the American League to also have a team in New York, in addition to the National League Giants. At that time, it was common for National League teams to be nicknamed Americans. Thus, the newcomer team was constantly referred to as the New York Americans. In 1904, the editor of the New York Press changed the nickname to Yankees, the name by which the team became known throughout the country. With the popularity of the new nickname, the club took advantage of a move in 1913 to definitively adopt the name and officially change it to New York Yankees. New York Yankees in baseball championships. Over the next few years, the Yankees experienced periods of growth until 1920, when the story really changed. That year, Boston Red Sox manager Harry Frazee agreed to sell the New York team to Babe Ruth, the star player and three-time World Series winner in Boston. The arrival of Ruth, also known as the Bambino, turned the team into a title-winning machine and started a great rivalry with the Red Sox, as well as the curse of the Bambino, which meant that the rival team went almost a century without winning a title. New York Yankees titles. The MLB dynasty today. The New York Yankees are the greatest champions in history, both in the American League and the World Series. The team's dynasty is the longest of any major league team in the United States. The Yankees have won the World Series 27 times, in the years 1923, 1927, 1928, 1932, 1936, 1937, 1938, 1939, 1941, 1943, 1947, 1949, 1950, 1951, 1952, 1953, 1956, 1958, 1961, 1962, 1977, 1978, 1996, 1998, 1999, 2000 and 2009. They also won the American League no less than 40 times, in the years 1921, 1922, 1923, 1926, 1927, 1928, 1932, 1936, 1937, 1938, 1939, 1941, 1942, 1943, 1947, 1949, 1950, 1951, 1952, 1953, 1955, 1956, 1957, 1958, 1960, 1961, 1962, 1963, 1964, 1976, 1977, 1978, 1981, 1996, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001, 2003 and 2009. New York Yankees and their historic rivalries. There is no rivalry in the United States that surpasses that of the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox, in any sport. The rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox reached its peak in 1920, when a historic trade took place that featured Babe Ruth. At the time, Ruth was a talented pitcher and hitter for the Red Sox. Due to financial problems, the Red Sox decided to sell him to the New York Yankees. This trade marked a turning point in the history of both teams. After the trade, Babe Ruth became a baseball legend, leading the Yankees into an era of great success and helping to establish their reputation as one of the most dominant franchises in the sport. Meanwhile, the Red Sox went through a period of few victories and a long drought of World Series titles, which lasted until 2004. The geographical proximity of the two cities and the fact that their teams always participate in the same divisions of the sports leagues intensifies the rivalry between New York and Boston. In baseball, it cannot be any other way. The two teams are in the American League East Division and face each other constantly, both in the regular season and in the playoffs. Frequently asked questions: why are the New York Yankees called that? Yankee is the nickname given to residents of the northern states of the United States, and to Americans in general. After the founding of the New York Highlanders, the team was first called the New York Americans and later the New York Yankees. adopting the nickname as its official name in 1913. What is the New York Yankees Stadium? Since 2009, the New York Yankees have played their games at Yankee Stadium on Concourse in the Bronx in New York. Since 2015, they share the stadium with New York City, a soccer team that plays in the Milliliters. The stadium currently has a capacity of 50,291 fans per game. Who was the best coach in the history of the New York Yankees? The most successful manager in New York Yankees history was Joe McCarthy, who managed the team for 16 seasons from 1931 to 1946. During that time, McCarthy achieved a record 1,460 wins, as well as American League titles and 7 World Series titles. What is the Yankees franchise worth? According to a survey conducted by Forbes magazine in 2023, the New York Yankees remain the most valuable franchise in MLB, with a total value of $7.1 billion. The second place on the list is far behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, valued at $4.8 billion, and finally, rounding out the podium, are the Boston Red Sox, at $4.5 billion.